to Friday from 9 a.m. for 4 weeks.
Participants must have completed and passed their intermediate courses.
Qualified persons can obtain their admission from online at www.natba.edu.ng.
National Broadcast Academy is at 1A Adekunle Faji Way, Ikeja, GRA, Lagos.
For further information, call 0805 307 8029
or 0803 394 1805
or go on to social media platforms facebook.com/MBAacademy.ng.
Announcer, the management.
The campaign for value addition on raw materials to grow the nation's economy has been on the front burner for quite some time. Driving the initiative is the Raw Material Research and Development Council, and its Director General, Professor Nnayelugo Ikemwonso, gives insight on Eagle Square, the Radio Nigeria Public Accountability Program, this Monday at 7:30 in the evening with Teso Zambi.
Exporting our raw materials in their crude form will not help us to prosper. It is only by adding value to our raw materials can we collectively build a country that will offer our children and our children's children the prosperity they desire.
Join the conversation on the network service of Radio Nigeria this Monday at 7:30 in the evening on Eagle Square, where only the truth is good enough.
It's match day 11 in the Nigerian Premier Football League, NPFL. This Sunday, Ikorodu City FC of Lagos battle for points against Kun Califat of Imo. Venue, Mobolaji Johnson Stadium. Who takes the glory in this weekend's battle between the Oga Boys and the Pride of Imo? Don't miss out. Be part of the excitement as the accumulation of points continue to mount in the NPFL. Catch all the match actions, commentary, analysis, and intrigues only on the network service of Radio Nigeria. This Sunday at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena Stadium in Lagos will determine where the pendulum will swing from the battle between Ikorodu City FC and Kun Califat FC. Join our studio analysis and match coverage from 3:30 p.m. for the live coverage of the NPFL game. FRCN Sports, connecting through sports, uniting the people.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Thank you very much for staying tuned. And moving on, all over the world, journalists have become endangered species, with many losing their lives on the line of duty and in the hands of both state and non-state actors. This is why the United Nations designated November 2nd annually as International Day to End Impunity Against Journalists, aimed at encouraging communities and organizations to initiate conversations on how to ensure a safer working environment for media men and women. In this report, correspondent Kingsley Izejobi highlights the need for journalists to still carry out their constitutional duties in a safe environment.
According to a UNESCO observatory, over 1,700 journalists were killed across the world between 2006 and 2024, with almost 90% of the cases unresolved in the court till date. Journalists play key roles in the society, hence any act of impunity against them would have a damaging effect on the society at large. Report by Press Attack Tracker of the Center for Journalism Innovation Development, CJID, indicated that between May 2023 and June 2024, about 51 cases of impunity against journalists were recorded in Nigeria. Speaking on the worrisome situation, the chairman, Correspondent Chapel, Nigeria Union of Journalists, Rivers State Council, Mr. Amechi Okonkwo, said impunity against journalists is not only real but often comes from agencies that ought to be partners with the media. He spoke further on what journalists had to contend with in bringing news and entertainment to the public.
For us in Nigeria, be aware of some of the new laws, especially the cyber crime laws, we hurriedly signed into law. If you carefully look at those laws, you discover that they are aimed at restraining free sharing of information, which is the main duty and function of the journalist.
The Secretary, Nigeria Union of Journalists, Rivers State Council, Dr. Ijoma Tubosia, said as a way of stemming the tide and ensuring safety of journalists, the Council is working with relevant stakeholders to ensure the safety of members in their line of duty. She called on journalists to always put their safety first before any news story.
Prioritize your life over a story. Yes, we know that we are there to work, to disseminate information to the society, but it is only one who is alive that is going to do that.
Although the acts of impunity against journalists may not be totally eradicated, a media scholar, Mr. Bon Woke, believes that even journalists have to carry out their assignments with strict adherence to the ethics of the profession. According to him, in a world where secrecy is the order of the day by many public office holders, impunity against the press will continue for a long time to come.
The ethics says you should engage. Most of them, because they want to stand and show that they are tough, they go into confrontation. Their job is not to confront. Their job is to engage. It's not about question you're asking, for example, it's for the public.
To put an end to numerous cases of impunity against journalists, respondents agreed that both state and non-state actors should allow journalists to carry out their constitutional duties, for without information dissemination, the world will be in total darkness. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Izejobi, Radio Nigeria.
Also, correspondent Godwin Idoko takes a look at the theme for this year's event, Chart GBV, Raising Awareness on AI-Facilitated Gender-Based Violence Against Women Journalists. His report is presented in our studio.
Journalists face numerous threats in their work, including physical violence, harassment, intimidation, arbitrary detention, online and offline threats, and assault. Female journalists often suffer this, ranging from sexual harassment and gender disinformation, which impact press freedom negatively. So violence and
The respondents, while acknowledging the significance of journalists in the society, said protecting journalists and ensuring justice for crimes committed against them remain vital for strengthening democracy, accountability, and freedom of expression in Nigeria. They also called for better collaboration between journalists and security agencies to reduce risks during coverage of conflicts or protests. And still on the day, globally, the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists will also be an opportunity to raise awareness on gender-based violence as it affects women journalists. I also spoke with the chairman, Nigeria Union of Journalists, FCT Council, Comrade Chris Ike, on the issue.
Journalists face numerous threats in their work, including physical violence, harassment, intimidation, arbitrary detention, online and offline threats, and assault. Female journalists often suffer this, ranging from sexual harassment and gender disinformation, which impact press freedom negatively. So violence and intimidation not only have personal impact but also create a negative effect on free expression and democratic discourse, causing self-censorship among journalists, especially women. And these challenges are severe.
How effectively have you emphasized your stand on the protection of journalists since you came on board as the chairman of the NUJ FCT Council?
Coming on board, we emphasize that the NUJ FCT have zero tolerance for intimidation and harassment of journalists, because we've gone through this a lot. Specific incidents have shown that state actors and security agencies sometimes they use excessive force and intimidation against journalists. The NUJFCT has condemned this act, and we keep calling for an immediate end to harassment and violence against journalists, because such acts undermine the public right to information and press freedom. So to protect journalists, the NUJ is actively involved in a whole lot of programs. We come out publicly to condemn this act. I demand public apology and accountability from perpetrators, and often call on authorities and organizations to create safer working environment for journalists.
Are you taking any measures in this regard as per upholding the rights of journalists and defending them against such intimidation and harassment?
Notably, the NUJ Council has taken strong stance against intimidation, ensuring zero tolerance for harassment, especially women journalists, and pursue all necessary channels to safeguard journalists' rights and welfare, because I keep saying journalists are not beggars. Journalism is a noble profession, and we are out as watchdog and conscious of the society. We often engage media partners, government officials, and civil society organizations to promote transparency, collaboration, and respectful journalist work. These efforts are part of broader campaign and advocacy to uphold press freedom and the safety of media professionals in Nigeria.
How far and how firmly are you advancing campaigns, as well as sensitizing the public on the freedom of the media professionals?
Earlier this year in July, we had our press week, and most importantly, we emphasized on the need for free press, and that message went a long way. The NUJFCT, as we speak, is proactive in advocacy, protection, and seeking accountability for abuses against journalists in Nigeria, working to create an environment where journalists can operate without fear or violence or intimidation. So in summary, journalists, including female journalists, face significant threats, and the bone of contention, the goal is to end intimidation, impunity, harassment, violence, any kind of assault against journalists in the FCT.
And that was the NUJ Council Chairman, Grace Ike, speaking on impunity against journalists. And back to the report by our correspondent, Godwin Idoku. He takes a look at the theme for this year's event, Charts GBV, raising awareness on AI-facilitated gender-based violence against women journalists. His report is presented in our studio.
Journalists play an indispensable role in uncovering corruption, injustice, and abuse of power, yet they often face harassment, threats, arbitrary detention, and even murder for fulfilling their duty. According to the United Nations, more than 1,000 journalists have been killed in the past decade, and in nearly 90% of those cases, the perpetrators were never brought to justice. To this end, every year on November 2, the world observes the International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists, a global call to safeguard the rights, safety, and dignity of media professionals who risk their lives to uncover the truth and defend democracy. As artificial intelligence becomes more embedded in communication, journalism, and digital platforms, it has also created new pathways for technology-driven harassment. Women journalists are increasingly subjected to AI-generated deep fakes, online stalking, image manipulation, hate campaigns, and coordinated misinformation attacks, all aimed at silencing their voices, undermining their credibility, and instilling fear. This year's observance focuses on Charts GBV, a call to action for all stakeholders to tackle gender-based violence through various initiatives and proposing solutions. A victim, who is the immediate past national president, Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, NAWOJ, Ms. Ladibala, narrates her encounter and suggests ways of protecting journalists.
I lifted my phone to just report through the phone. He was like, "What are you doing?" He was just hostile. He was like, "Get out, what's wrong with this woman? Get this woman out of here." I was actually humiliated. Nigeria needs a strong law that protects journalists, like the Freedom of Information Act and the Journalist Protection Act. We also need justice for journalists.
Other media professionals also outlined their expectations.
There's a need for the media organizations to make things available for those going into investigative journalism. Journalists too should learn to carry their ID cards.
Welfare is one. Then secondly, the law guided the practice of journalism in Nigeria.
Journalists should be insured. But basically, I would say female journalists, because we are more prone to such issue of disaster.
The chairman, Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ-FCT Council, Comrade Grace Ike, decries the increasing rate of violence against women and speaks on efforts to end crimes against journalists in Nigeria.
Female journalists often suffer this, ranging from sexual harassment and gender disinformation, which impact press freedom negatively. And these challenges are severe. So to protect journalists, we come out publicly to condemn this act and demand public apology and accountability from perpetrators, and often call on authorities and organizations to create safer working environment and condition for journalists.
Ms. Ike called for more concerted efforts by government, the civil society, and the general public to see journalists as people working for the good of society and not as enemies.
And that report was presented from our studio. And away from the International Day to End Impunity from Crimes Against Journalists, the maiden edition of the two-day Southwest Stakeholders Dialogue Summit is ended in Akure, the Ondo State capital, with a call for renewed commitment, purposeful leadership, unity, and collective support for government policies. Correspondent Isaac Afolabi reports that the event brought together top government officials, Afenifere elders, traditional rulers, youth representatives, and other key stakeholders from across the southwestern states. His report.
The maiden edition of the two-day Southwest Stakeholders Dialogue has ended with a renewed call for purposeful leadership, unity, and collective support for government policies and development initiatives across the region. The event brought together top government functionaries, Afenifere elders, youths, and traditional rulers. The summit provided a platform for critical discussions on how to make the Southwest more economically vibrant and supportive of national growth effort. The Minister of Solid Minerals, Dr. Dele Alake, urged traditional leaders to distance themselves from illegal mining activities and rather support government efforts aimed at expanding the solid minerals sector to boost Nigeria's economy.
Can I go to China or go to a village in China and start digging without our own local connivance? No foreigner can come.
In a remark, the governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, represented by his deputy, Prince Kola Adeusi, emphasized the need for unity and regional development that transcends partisan politics.
We should not allow anti-communities to destroy the human nation that we are talking about.
Also speaking, the Deji of Akure Kingdom, Oba Alade Tuimbu Alade Lucy, commended the organizers for the initiative and challenged Southwest governors to work together in designing a common roadmap for the regional socio-economic transformation.
We have everything, the mineral resources, they are all here. But if we are not together, we won't be able to have it done. So now, this dialogue will bring together all of us, the youth, the elders, will benefit.
The monarch noted that with unity and proper coordination, the Southwest had the human and natural resources required to achieve sustainable development. Other stakeholders who spoke at the event called for immediate follow-up and implementation of the key resolutions reached during the 2 days dialogue. Dignitaries present at the closing session included the host governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, former Ondo State Governor, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, and Ekiti State Governor, Biodun Oyebanji, represented by the Speaker of the Ekiti State House of Assembly, Mr. Adeye Aribasui, among others. In Akure, Isaac Afolabi, Radio Nigeria.
It's 24 minutes past 7. You're listening to the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. In the headlines this morning, federal government has released 43 billion naira to settle health workers' arrears. Court has sentenced a 19-year-old teacher to life imprisonment over sodomy. Correspondents examined impunity against journalists as World Marks Day. Still ahead, game of suspension rocks People's Democratic Party. Plus, State House Diary, sports news, commentary, cyberscope, newspaper headlines, and weather reports. Please stay tuned.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
In a world where marriage is often seen as the ultimate milestone, Flying Solo dares to ask, what if there is more to the story? Flying Solo, beyond the issues of marriage.
This both thoughtful program creates a safe inquiry space for honest conversation about singleness in all its forms, by choice, by change, or by chance.
Join us every Sunday evening at 7:30 p.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria as we explore how singlehood intersects mental health,
faith,
finances,
parenting,
and personal purpose.
Flying Solo, every story deserves a voice.
Are you passionate about aviation? Do you want to know more about the policies, safety standards, and innovations shaping Nigeria's airspace? Then, don't miss NCAA in View, your trusted window into the activities of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, the regulator ensuring safe, secure, and efficient air travel for all. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Join us for the latest news, exclusive insights, expert interviews, and conversations with key stakeholders, including the Director General of NCAA.
Since our assumed office, we have made discharge of NCAA's oversight responsibilities faster, more transparent, and more effective under what we term ease of doing business, without compromising safety standards.
Catch NCAA in view Tuesdays, 7 p.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria, Africa's largest radio network. NCAA in view, flying the flag of safety always.
And sharp. Who they walk, who they talk is launching big. Your voice, your story truly matters. We are flipping the narrative, finding solutions to everyday challenges.
Tune in on Monday, 3rd November at 5:30 p.m. on Radio Nigeria. It's time to walk passionately, time to talk boldly. Let's drive impact across Nigeria with stories of what is working. Who they work, who they talk, bringing abundant solutions your way.
Connect with us on our social media at Who They Work, on TikTok and Instagram. On Facebook, join our page, Who They Work. Join our community, expand connections widely.
Need to share your thoughts? Email whodeywork@radionigeria.gov.ng. We listen deliberately, creating significant change.
Who They Work, Who They Talk, debut Monday, November 3rd at 5:30 p.m. sharp on Radio Nigeria Network.
Who They Work, Who They Talk.
This program is brought to you with support from the Nigerian Health Watch through the Solutions to Journalism Africa initiative.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
And good to have you still tuned to the news and to some party politics. The National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, for alleged anti-party activities. Also suspended were the National Organizing Secretary, Umar Baturi, National Legal Advisor, Kamaldeen Ajibade, and the Deputy National Legal Advisor, Okechukwu Oswoha. Addressing newsmen after the meeting of the NWC in Abuja, the National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Debo Olugwagba, said they were to appear before the disciplinary committee.
The National Legal Advisor, Kamal Ajibade SN, suspended for 30 days and is referred to the National Disciplinary Committee of the party. Number 2, the Deputy National Legal Advisor, Barrister Okechukwu Oswoha, was suspended for 30 days in line with the Constitution and referred to the National Disciplinary Committee as may be necessary. During the period of suspension, they ceased to function in their respective capacities. The National Organizing Secretary, Honorable Umar Baturi, suspended for 1 month and referred to the National Disciplinary Committee. Third, the National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, suspended for 1 month and referred to the National Disciplinary Committee.
Mr. Olugwagba said the Deputy National Secretary will serve as Secretary while the National Directorate of Legal Services will oversee the Office of the Legal Advisor in the meantime. He maintained that preparations for the National Elective Convention scheduled for Ibadan this month would continue despite court judgments. Meanwhile, the Senator Samuel Anyanwu faction of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has also suspended the national chairman of the party, Umar Damangum, for alleged incompetence. Briefing journalists at the end of the meeting, it regarded as National Working Committee, Senator Anyanwu said the National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olugwagba, was also suspended for 30 days. Senator Anyanwu also said the Deputy National Chairman, South, Alhaji Taufik Arapaja, the National Financial Secretary, Youth Leader, and Deputy National Secretary were also suspended.
After the emergency meeting, we decided as a party to suspend Ambassador Umar Damangum, the national chairman of the party, for incompetence, misappropriation of party funds, and flagrant disobedience of court judgments. Secondly, the National Public Secretary, Honorable Debo Olugwagba, for us to have sanity in the party, we must give him that suspension.
Senator Anyanwu announced the National Vice Chairman, North Central, Abdulrabad Mohammed, as acting National Chairman, while the Director of Publicity, Chinwe Norum, will act as Publicity Secretary.
The judgment of yesterday confirms the reason why this suspension should be effective. And in their place, especially the National Chairman, we are asking the National Vice Chairman, North Central, to act. And in the place of the National Public Secretary, we are going to ask the Director of Publicity, Chinwe Norum, to take over. This is the outcome of our emergency meeting.
Our correspondent reports that the Ayaw-led group held a meeting in Abuja following the earlier suspension of Senator Ayaw as National Secretary of the party and 3 others for alleged anti-party activities by the Umar Damagum-led NWC. From Zamfara, the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress APC has endorsed the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for re-election in 2027 general election. The endorsement was announced during a stakeholders meeting of the party held at Talata Mafara local government by Senator Tahabi Yoka Zamfara North, Senator Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar Zamfara West, and Abdul Malik Zubair Bungudu, member representing Maru Bungudu Federal Constituency. The motion to adopt President Tinubu as the APC's 2027 presidential candidate was moved by Senator Sahabi Yokora and seconded by Abdul Malik Zubairu Bungudu and unanimously adopted by all party members. Speaking during the event, Senator Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar called on APC supporters in Zamfara to unite and work collectively towards achieving the party's goals in the state and the country in general. Senator Yari also appealed to religious leaders to intensify prayers for President Tinubu to successfully address the challenges of insecurity, among others. Also speaking, the member representing Marubugudu Federal Constituency, Abdul Malik Zubairu, said President Tinubu deserves a second term in office because of his developmental policies. Earlier, the Zamfara State APC Chairman Alhaji Tukur Umar Danfulani commended Senator Abdulaziz Yari and the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Muhammad Matawali, for their unwavering commitment and contributions to the progress of the APC in the state.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The Federal Capital Territory chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has held a public lecture and award ceremony to recognize distinguished Nigerians for their exceptional service to God, the Church, and humanity. Among those honored were the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, retired, Senior Pastor of Dunamis International Gospel Center, Dr. Paul Eneche, and several serving lawmakers and Christian leaders. Musa Kucha was at the event and now reports.
The event, which held at the National Christian Center Abuja, had the theme, The Response of the Church to the Menace of Insecurity in the Country. Also featured the unveiling of plans for the proposed CAN FCT Secretariat, envisioned as a hub for unity, leadership development, and policy engagement within the Christian community. The FCT chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Timothy Amakom, described the gathering as both a celebration of service and a call to nation building.
It's a very important event that we organize to appreciate those who have been doing well in this nation, supporting the church, those who have been in the government, and they did well to promote the affairs of this nation.
The CAN chairman of the 19 northern states and the FCT, Reverend Joseph Hayab, described the award as a key motivation and reminder to individuals to always leave lasting legacies wherever they serve, whether in the church community or the secular world.
It is good for people to recognize and appreciate your contribution. I do not even feel my award is as important as the award given to the immediate past CDS, who has just rotated out of office. And this is what we're supposed to do. Let's wait for people to serve, then we'll celebrate them.
Another awardee and serving member of the House of Representatives representing Lavin, Mokwa, Idete constituency of Niger State, Dr. Joshua Ghana, said he was happy the church community had identified with others like him who were in governance, finding them worthy to be awarded.
They've been praying along with us, and we need them to feed us with things that are happening in society so that we can make laws to defend God's kingdom, our nation, and humanity.
The founder of Dunamis International Gospel Center, Dr. Paul Enenche, outlined 5 guiding principles for believers in different walks of life, to include nurturing a genuine relationship with God, fulfilling divine purpose, releasing one's full potential, impacting future generations, and preparing for eternity. In Abuja, Musa Kucha, Radio Nigeria.
Next, the State House Diary.
Welcome to another edition of State House Diary. I am Hamza Al-Ghali. President Bola Tinubu charged the newly appointed service chiefs to intensify efforts to defeat terrorism, banditry and other criminal activities across the country. President Tinubu delivered this charge at the presidential villa following the decoration of the service chiefs with their new ranks. He urged the service chiefs to ensure synergy and provide exemplary leadership in all their operations.
Nigerians expect results and not excuses. We are in a hurry to celebrate peace. I charge you also to be innovative and courageous. Let's stay ahead of those who seek to threaten our peace, freedom, and stability. Let us deploy technology where necessary. We cannot allow the crisis that began in year 2009 to persist any longer. It is time to defeat the enemy.
Responding on behalf of the service chiefs, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, urged Nigerians to support the military in the campaign to safeguard Nigeria's territorial integrity and rid the country of terrorism, banditry, and other criminal activities.
Mr. President looked at that terrorism, for instance, has been with us since 2009, and he said that it's important that we bring it to an end. We need to do our very best with the support of Mr. President, the government, and the people of Nigeria, because for everybody, I believe security should be our business. And without the support of Nigerians, we hardly achieve anything. So I want to enjoin Nigerians of all ethnicities to please support us. And at the end of the day, I believe we make Nigeria safer.
Ahead of the 30th United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP30, scheduled to hold in Brazil, President Bola Tinubu approved the adoption of the National Carbon Market Framework and the operationalization of the Climate Change Fund. The framework is designed to position Nigeria strategically within the global carbon market and unlock an estimated $2.5 to $3 billion annually in carbon finance over the next decade. President Tinubu, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima during a Climate Council meeting, said the decision underscored the administration's determination to leverage emerging opportunities in the global carbon economy while strengthening Nigeria's position in climate action.
Nigeria stands ready to take its rightful place as a global leader in climate action, ensuring that our voice and our realities are heard and respected in international negotiations. We have demonstrated this commitment through our active participation in UNFCCC process, our progress towards implementing our nationally determined contributions, and our efforts to mobilize climate finance for adaptation and mitigation across all levels of government. The decisions we take here will shape Nigeria's resilience, competitiveness, and credibility for years to come.
Vice President Kashim Shettima urged the leadership of the Arewa Consultative Forum, ACF, to stand firmly in solidarity with President Bola Tinubu's renewed home agenda, emphasizing that the North must unite in support of the administration's effort to steer the nation towards stability and prosperity. Speaking while receiving a delegation of the ACF led by its Board of Trustees Chairman Alhaji Bashir Alhatu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, Vice President Kashim Shettima said there was no better time for northern leaders to close ranks and work collectively for national progress. He cautioned the forum against the antics of mischief makers attempting to sow the seed of discord and fragment Nigeria's unity, noting that the administration is focused on building an inclusive nation where every citizen feels represented.
I assure you, our elder statesmen, distinguished members and leaders of the Arewa Consultative Forum, we are here to listen to you and to partner with you in advancing the cause of our region and our nation. There is no better time than now for the leaders of the North to stand together as one. We have proven time and again that our diversity has always been our source of strength, that our differences in tribe, faith, and geography are the very bricks that makes this house of destiny we live in. This is why we must continue to resist all attempts to divide us or to steal mischief amongst us. Our future depends on unity, and unity must remain our creed.
President Bola Tinubu has executed the relevant instrument of release to complete the process of formally exercising his constitutional power of prerogative of mercy to grant pardon and clemency to specific individuals who were earlier convicted for various offenses. Following consultations with the Council of State and Public Opinion on the matter, the President directed a further review of the initially approved list for consideration in furtherance of the President's discretionary powers under the 1999 Constitution as amended. President Tinubu also directed the Attorney General of the Federation to issue appropriate guidelines for the exercise of the power of prerogative of mercy, which includes compulsory consultation with relevant prosecuting agencies. The President appreciated the constructive feedback and engagement from stakeholders and the general public on the matter. This has been State House Diary, bringing you updates from the presidential villa. I am Hamza Alkali.
And now to sports. Super 8 playoffs in the Nigeria Premier Basketball League set to climax in Port Harcourt as 8 Nigeria Premier Football League match day 11 fixtures hold today. Plus, former Super Eagles and Sharks coach Monday Sinclair buried in Bomadi Delta State. Alan Bodatoya wraps up the details in our sports package.
Hoops and Reed earned their second win on March the 6th in the final 8 playoffs of the Nigerian Basketball Federation Premier League on Saturday after outslamming Nigeria Customs 74-67. Also, Boko City Chiefs outdunked Kwara Falcons 77-60 in the second game of the day to seal a ticket for the Final Four. But the upset of the day came in the third game as Kano Pillars defeated Lagos Legends, who tasted their first defeat in the tourney by 70 to 56 points. In the last game last night, the defending champions River Supers beat Nile University Spartans 86-83. After 6 days of action, the top 4 teams in the standings are Lagos Legends, River Supers, City Chiefs, and Nile University Spartans. The playoff, which is taking place at the basketball stadium along Niger Street in Port Harcourt, will climax today with March the 7 fixtures as the top 4 sides will qualify to participate in the Super 4 playoffs also built for the River State capital from November 21 to 23. Head coach of the Nigerian Under-17 women's team, Bankole Olowokere, says the nation should take consolation in the fact that players for the future have emerged at the ongoing FIFA Cadet Women's World Cup after the Flamingos lost 0-4 to Italy in the second round. He also called for investments in facilities and adequate funding for women's football in the country.
They have to be developmental. They have to start from somewhere. You check with some of those girls that are from 7 schools. Most of them are picked from displacement school. Most of them now they go back to school. After we talk about their school has come back for and pick them. And when I have the younger one that can develop, I'm talking about future of Nigerian football. And that is one that I think to the World Cup. There are still millions of them who are even still good that are outside there. They are looking for people to bring them to them. Going to Morocco, I saw a lot of things. Talk about facilities. You cannot develop football without facilities.
Meanwhile, quarter-final games in the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup will be concluded on Sunday as France clash with Netherlands while Mexico face Italy, who eliminated Nigeria in the round of 16. On Saturday, Brazil reached the semi-finals after a 5-4 penalty shootouts victory over Canada as both sides played 0-0 with North Korea up against Japan. Also, the FIFA Under-17 Men's World Cup Qatar 2025 kicks off tomorrow with South Africa facing Bolivia, while United Arab Emirates tackle Costa Rica in the expanded 48-team tournament with 12 groups featuring 8 African countries. Record 5-time world champions, the Golden Eaglets of Nigeria, did not qualify. Bendel Insurance and Warri Wolves shared the spoils as they played a 1-1 draw at the Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium, Benin City, in the South-South duel of the Nigeria Premier Football League on Saturday. Alex Owelaifa opened scoring after 9 minutes, but Otuke Egbo equalized on 41 minutes in a tie, which is one of March the 11 games of the NPFL. In the other contest, Kwara United spanked champions Remo Stars 3-1. Junior Aimufua got a double on 30 and 87 minutes. Babatunde Bright got the other on 74 minutes for the Afonja Warriors, who are now 5th in the table with 16 points, while Jabba Malik had a consolation for the visitors in 2 minutes of stoppage time. 8 matches will be played in the NPFL on Sunday. Barao FC tackled Wiki Tourist, while Bayelsa United take on Plateau United with coach Meremu Okara, who is under pressure following a 2-match ultimatum by the Yenegua-based club management, hoping for victory.
We just have to do we are playing, we just have to we do have this for the team to come together and give everything we have
Ambia.
In Maiduguri, El Kanemi Warriors welcomed Rangers Enyimba up against Kano Pillars at Aba. Ladu City confront Kon Califat in Lagos as Niger Tornadoes entertain Abia Warriors in Ibadan. Shooting Stars challenge Katsina United while Rivers United battle leaders Nasarawa United in Port Harcourt. Nasarawa United top with 19 points, followed by Warri Wolves and Abia Warriors on 18 each, while Niger Tornadoes follow with 17 points and Kwara United on 16 points. Kano Pillars are bottom with 5 points. Barao FC also of Kano are 19th with 8 points. Bendel Insurance 18th with 8 points. Remo Stars 17th with 10 points. The remains of former Super Eagles coach Monday Perekeme Sinclair have been laid to rest at his maternal home in Bomadi Town, Delta State on Saturday. Some of the proteges of the coach, nicknamed Professor of Nigerian Football, including former Green Eagles star Josie Dombraye and coach Ekete Fekete, said he shaped their career positively.
He brought me up when I was in a primary school, 1963. He came to Bomadi and saw me and said I should go to township. Sinclair has been my mentor. He coached me. I was the captain of the pioneer member 1972. He was the pioneer coach for Sharks of Port Harcourt. Monday Sinclair was my teacher in primary school. Then later he went to Lagos. He was handling a team in Lagos. So I started training with his team, found left for River State and joined Sharks of Port Harcourt. Was playing under him. All this I was staying with him. What I am today is Sinclair.
Sinclair, who retired from active play from the Electricity Corporation of Nigeria and the senior national team, the Green Eagles, transitioned into coaching and handled Sharks FC of Port Harcourt, Rangers, Wanyango National, Udoji United, Bayelsa United, and the Super Eagles in 1997 before taking charge of the Equatorial Guinea national team. Born in 1936 in his paternal home of Angalabiri in Sabama local government area of Bayelsa State, he died on July 16 this year following a battle against ailment, aged 88. I am Alambo Latoyin.
Quite an impactful legacy left behind, and may he rest in peace. And now to the commentary is on the need to restore the credibility and efficiency of the examination bodies. It is written by Nehemiah Anini of the editorial unit.
Examinations remain a cornerstone of any nation's educational system. They serve not only as an assessment tool, but also as a gateway to opportunities in higher education, employment, and national development. In Nigeria, the three most prominent examination bodies, the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, the National Examinations Council, NECO, and the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAMB, occupy a critical space in determining the academic and career trajectories of millions of young people. However, recent years have been marked by mixed feelings among candidates, parents, and educators because of the persistent technical challenges, rising cases of malpractice, and disappointing performance levels. These challenges point to the urgent need for proper conduct of examinations to regain the trust of fulfilling their mandates. The outcome of the recent WAEC, NECO, and JAMB examinations has many implications. For WAEC and NECO, they represent the culmination of secondary school education and the benchmark for entry into tertiary institutions. JAMB, on the other hand, determines whether or not a candidate can secure admission into higher institutions. When these examinations are marred with technical challenges, it will lead to frustration and discouragement. For WAEC and NECO, they represent the culmination of secondary school education and the benchmark for entry into tertiary institutions. JAMB, on the other hand, determines whether or not a candidate can secure admission into higher institutions. When these examinations are marred with technical challenges, it will lead to frustration and discouragement in fulfilling the dreams of the youths. In recent years, many students have not been able to access their results as a result of server, biometric failures, or delays in release of results. Similarly, there has been recurring cases of mass failure as a result of technical challenges and other human errors. The transition of JAMB into a fully computer-based test, CBT, was initially welcomed as a bold step in curbing examination malpractices. However, the system has faced significant setbacks as a result of malfunctioning of computers, poor internet connectivity, inadequate power supply, and compromised centers. Many candidates in some centers are sometimes not able to complete their exams because of system failure, including biometric authentication. For a country that is striving toward digital transformation, these recurrent challenges have highlighted the gaps between ambition and preparedness. For WAEC and NECO that are still largely paper-based, they are still facing challenges of late arrival of question papers at examination centers, errors in designing questions, and irregularities in marking. Beyond the technical problems, the low performance in WAEC and NECO results in recent times has become a source of national concern. While some argue that this reflects a decline in the quality of teaching and learning in schools, others point to the possibility of systemic flaws in assessment. Whatever the case, the fact remains that mass failure erodes the confidence of students, parents, and even employers in the education sector. An education system that consistently produces underperforming graduates cannot provide the skilled manpower that is required for industrialization, innovation, and global competition. Examination bodies must go beyond routine assessments to ensure that their systems truly reflect students' knowledge and potential. WAEC, NECO, and JAMB must prioritize proper conduct in the administration of examinations. Proper conduct implies transparency, efficiency, fairness, and accountability. This should start with proper planning by making sure that examination materials, whether digital or paper-based, are adequately prepared, tested, and secure. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation